Welcome back to another video, guys. Today we're going to be going over a basic warm-up guide for squat to set you up to squat safely and effectively. Okay, so why are we warming up? So we want to be able to utilize our main movers effectively and utilize our targeted muscle groups as intended. We also want to minimize risk of injury when performing these compound movements. And then lastly, we want to prime the movement so that we're performing the movement the best that we can on the day.
So the first step that we want to do is to actually get our body prepared to move. You can do this by walking, a treadmill, or a stationary bike. As long as we are getting our heart rate up and getting our body temperature up, then we're starting off in a good place.
So the first movement we're going to be performing for you guys is the quadruped hip circle. So this one's going to be key for firing off the glute and the abductor and mobilizing the hips. As entailed in the name quadruped, you're going to get down on your hands and knees. You're going to kick back with one leg, extend the glute, and then you're going to abduct and bring the hip out, and then just bring it down to neutral position on both sides. So our next movement is going to be a hinge-based movement. It's going to be the 45-degree hyperextension. This one's also going to be a glute focus. It's going to help to promote blood flow into the glutes and to the low back. So our next movement option for the hips to help mobilize the hips is the hip airplane. So this one's going to be pretty simple. You're just going to hinge forward on one of your legs, and this is going to be just a rotating motion, side to side on the hip, really getting a deep dynamic stretch on the glute and abductor, and then also dynamic stretch on the adductor on the inside of your hip. Our next option, probably the easiest way to loosen up the hips, is just the leg swings. So we're going to swing our legs front to back with the emphasis on squeezing the glute in the back position, and then also a side-to-side leg swing, just kind of reaching up at each point, side to side.
The next thing we're going to warm up is the quads, and we have 3 movements that we're going to go over that are all great options for getting blood flow. The first option is going to be just some light quad extensions, some light leg extensions. They are super straightforward. It isolates the quad, gets blood flow in them. You can't go wrong. So the next option that we have is the goblet squat. These you're going to want to do butt to grass depth. It's going to be great just for that squat pattern. So Malcolm will show us here. He'll go down in the normal squat pattern. You'll get great practice with the squat movement, and then you also get great practice with the knees tracking forward, and even some warm up in the ankles for some ankle mobility. So the last option for our quad warm ups is going to be the split squat. This is going to be another great movement for opening up the hips and tracking that knee forward over the toes. So Malcolm's going to show us as he comes down, he's going to put his weight on his front foot, driving that knee over the toe and getting that little bit of ankle mobility warm up as well.
In addition, the split squat can also be really good for mobilizing the ankle, just as long as we get deep enough and we aim to put all of our weight on the toes there. Another good option to mobilize the ankles will just be a standing calf raise. With these, we really want to try to get as much ankle flexion as we can, get really deep, a really deep stretch on the calves, and just really make sure that we're controlled with that movement. And so now we're going to go over our options for mobilizing and warming up the upper back or the thoracic spine. There's many options here. We're going to start with something simple. So our first one's the band pull apart. This one's pretty straightforward. Just pulling the band apart, keeping our arms extended, keeping our arms locked out. You should feel this in the rear delts and the upper back. Our next option is a row. We can do this with the band or on a cable. This will be really good for promoting blood flow into the lats and the upper back. Our next option is the face pull. These need to be performed high to low, pulling at eye level, just like you're doing a back double back. Our next option is the scap pull-ups. So these are just going to be in pull-up position, but only performed with the scapula. So these are going to be great for mobilizing the scapula and the musculature around it.
Okay, so the last thing that we're going to warm up before getting underneath the bar is our core. This is going to be super important just for stability. We want to get the core warmed up so that we can properly stabilize ourselves throughout the entirety of the squat. So the first thing is going to be just a regular plank, like Malcolm is showing us here. This is going to be super simple and easy movement to get the core going. It's also going to be great for practicing the brace. The second option that we have would be the side plank, which is just a normal plank on your side with one arm on the ground. This is going to be great for warming up the obliques and helping with that extra stabilization during the squat. Do it on both sides, and now we're ready to get underneath the bar. So now we're going to just talk about a quick order of these warm-ups we've talked about that we use that you can use to get yourself ready for the squat day. So for all these options, you really only need 1 to 2 sets of them at a pretty low RPE. You can get 10 reps of most of these at RPE like 1. And that should be enough to get the blood flowing. The first is going to be the goblet squat. You can do these heel elevated as well for a little more quad emphasis. These are always going to be great. They're go-to for both of us. So the next one is going to be the quadruped hip circles. Now you can also kind of merge these into a core warm-up as well. If you're in more of a bear crawl stance, kind of letting the knees hover over the ground instead of being on hands and knees completely. But these are going to be great and quick and easy and require no machinery. You do it all just with your body. Finally, the last two are going to be the leg swings, forward and back and left and right, and our bands, the band pull aparts and the band rows. All these are going to be great. It should take you no more than 2 to 3 minutes to get through all of this, and then you'll be ready to get underneath the bar.
So now that we're warm and primed for the low bar squat, now we can actually start adding weight to the bar. So our warm-up jumps can be pretty straightforward. So a good rule of thumb, if you're warming up to roughly 85 to 90% or more of your 1 rep max, you probably want to take about 4 to 6 warm-up jumps leading to your top set. Here's a good percentage-based guide of jumps that you can take leading up to your top set. And then obviously with your first warm-up set, you can probably be somewhere around 5 to 10 reps. And you want that to taper off to 1 to 3 reps by your last warm-up. If you're warming up to a heavy single, it probably makes sense to taper it off to just a single for your last warm-up. Thanks for watching, guys. We would really appreciate it if you hit that like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment. Let us know what you want to see next week, and we'll see you guys in the next one.